As you know, Trump blames the media for a whole mess of things, and now he's blaming it for his own tweeting habit. And he did it with, of course, a tweet. Here it is, quote, "If the press would cover me accurately and honorably, I would have far less reason to tweet. Sadly, I don't know if that will ever happen. We are entering a new world once Trump enters the White House. We've never had a president who embraces social media like this, or for that matter, acts like that." And in a new column in the Washington Post, it could even be scarier than what we've seen to this point. Here a portion of it. "You may think you are prepared for a post-truth world in which political appeals to emotion count for more than statements of verifiable fact. But now it's time to cross another bridge into a world without facts, or more precisely, where facts do not matter a whit." The Washington Post media columnist Margaret Sullivan, she wrote that piece, and she's kind enough to join us now. And Margaret, I was listening to that Diane Rehm show where I heard that conversation, and that just as quoted statement that came out of the words of a Trump supporter and an advisor throughout that embraces it as if that should be the new normal. Petrifying.
Right. I mean, so this was Scotty Nell Hughes, who was on CNN as a paid commentator, but really a Trump stalwart, certainly. And she essentially was asked about one of Trump's tweets that blamed, that said that there were millions of illegal immigrants who had voted in the election, and said that he would have won the popular vote if it hadn't been for that. And when she was challenged on that, because there really is no truth to that and no evidence of it, she said something to the effect of, well, we're in an era now where there really are no facts, which was a startling thing to hear, and not a good sign, actually.
As you know, the latest snapshot of this was over the debate of the popular vote. And Trump said, well, if the 3 million votes illegally cast, if they were thrown out, I would have won the popular vote too. Now, it was one thing him saying it, as bizarre as that is coming out of my mouth, the president-elect saying it, you can dismiss. But Reince Priebus, he basically took that same party line this weekend too. And what bothered me, I think, more than anything was I have people in the media who I trust and know who are making their own debates as to whether or not you should take what the president-elect says literally and we should grade him on a different curve than what anyone else says. How are we having this debate? How are you not supposed to take literally what the commander-in-chief says?
Right. I think you have to take what the president-elect and the president says very seriously indeed. But at the same time, and you certainly need to report them. I have written that I think that the attention paid to some of Donald Trump's tweets is a little bit exaggerated, and I'd like to see us kind of tamp that down a little bit at least. Some of his tweets are obviously very newsworthy. They may all have some reason to be reported, but we can't sort of respond to every one of them as if it's a 5-alarm fire.
Obviously, there's been a lot of soul searching in media in all its different platforms with the result of the election. Do you think more people, after that second drink, honestly look around and say, we dropped the ball, we gave them a pass far too long through the primary process and it was too late in the general? Or do they say, you know what? We actually did our job, and in the end, the public didn't care. They just wanted something different. Is it self-indictment, or is it just, agog at the realization what matters and doesn't matter anymore?
Well, I think that you have to kind of separate some pieces of media out a little bit here. There's no question in my mind that some of the cable networks, CNN in particular, gave Donald Trump amazing amounts of free advertising early on, particularly in the run-up to the primary, and he does drive ratings. So you can understand it even if you don't admire it. I mean, I would say that my newspaper and other, print-based publications were really pretty tough on Donald Trump, particularly in the period of the general election. And I think we ended up telling the electorate exactly who this was. They decided differently. So, that's, but I don't think we have to blame ourselves for not telling people who exactly they were electing.
I had a conversation a little bit earlier, Margaret, with person specifically talked about the conflicts of interest, and it was his contention that it's a matter of when, not if, some of this stuff catches up. The lack of transparency, lack of disclosures. As it relates with just covering a White House who to this point seems that they can do it with social media on their own terms, and it seems to be working for them, that's a short term, in the not, forget about long term, even in the medium term, that's not going to work? Or do you think that we're just in a new reality right now?
Well, we are definitely in a new reality, but I still think that Trump wants the traditional media on his side. And while it's true that he can go to YouTube, he can go straight to the people with YouTube or with tweets, I still think, and you saw this with his visit to the New York Times, that he wants that traditional media attention, and he wants their favorable coverage. I think that's going to be hard to come by. But, and it's going to be a very, very challenging administration to cover, because the access, I'm sure, will be very limited to those outlets that are willing to give him the kind of positive press that he's looking for. So I think we're into a whole new world here, and we could see this just, I mean, he's not even president yet, and there's just been so much to really be concerned about from a press rights point of view. I'm pretty worried about it.
Margaret Sullivan, thank you so much as always. I appreciate the time.
You're welcome.
All right, everybody, when we come back, we're going to go around the world and we're going to look at some hot spots and how this incoming president could be making some of them even hotter.